Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David, and this episode is for UFC Fight Night Allen vs. Curtis 2. Obviously, if you're looking at the time, it's a long time. It's probably been about 2 weeks at this point. It's 2 weeks because I've been procrastinating and I've just been lazy. Let's just put it like that. I've been lazy. And now I finally got to it. Okay? Dodged all the spoilers. Dodged every single spoiler, got to it, and we're finally here. Okay, UFC Fight Night, Allen versus Curtis 2. Let's start with the honorable mentions. Okay, Mullins versus Cornolle. Mullins versus Cornolle. First round, I gave a 10-9 to Cornolle. Fight ended in a TKO in the second round, so, pretty simple. In the first round, Mullins had a takedown, but Cornolle had a reversal, and so the takedown's kind of irrelevant there. And then she outstruck her by about 15 plus strikes. So I was expecting the scorecard to look the way my scorecard looked, but no. We go to the judges' scorecards, and Eric Lone has a 10-9 for Cornolle. Yes. Chris Lieben has a 10-9 for Cornolle. Yes. And then Junichiro Kamijo just says, I don't know how to score cards tonight, so guess what? 10-9 to Mullins. Mullins did nothing to win this round. She gets a takedown, yeah, but she literally gets outstruck the entire round, gets a takedown, does nothing with the takedown, and that's pretty much the round. And then she gets finished in the second round. Another thing I want to note about this fight is that the commentary during this card was ridiculous. Just ridiculous. You could tell they were like, I don't want to say stumping for a certain fighter, but they were so heavy on one fighter that it came off as like almost rooting for a fighter. I mean, there's a part later in the night, later in the card, where John Gooden, who I like and I think is an amazing commentator, he was so obsessed with how Trevor Peek fights that literally in, I think, the second or third round, I don't want to say he's rooting for Trevor Peek, but he shouts out, "Let's go, Trevor Peek!" And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you doing? What? No, you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that. All because he's doing the patented Trevor Peek hammer fist, like standing hammer fist. It's cool, but it looks bad. It looks bad on the rewatch. But anyways, in this second round, during the second round, it was very, very hilarious to me because the entire time, Mullins is losing. Like, Mullins is losing in the second round before she gets finished. She's losing, and the commentary is just talking. Well, Bisping and Paul are both avoiding talking about how well Cornolle is doing. The reason why maybe they're talking about Mullins doing well is because Cornolle is standing kind of hunchback, but forget her goofy stance for a second. She's outstriking Mullins. Mullins is just trying to get a takedown, and she looks wobbly on the feet, not from hits, but just her stance just looks very wobbly the entire time. Bisping is talking about the weight cut. Oh, they both miss weight, but they're like, the effect. Bisping is doing the thing where he just says nothing. He just talks for 10 hours and he says nothing. So he's just waffling on. Paul Felder is congratulating and complimenting everything that Mullins is doing, despite her. If you just shut your ears for a second and just watched it, you would go, "Oh, Cornolle is like outstriking Mullins," but no. Paul Felder wants to really talk about how good Mullins looks on the feet, how great she's doing. Despite the fact that she's not getting any takedowns, she's getting clinched, and she's clinching with Cornolle, and she's getting outstruck in the clinch. Just absolutely ridiculous. But that's all I had to mention on that. We go to the next honorable mention, and that's Budka versus Almeida. First round, 10-9 to Almeida. TKO finish for Almeida in the second. In the first round, Budka had 2 takedowns. Does nothing with them. Nothing with them at all. Almeida outstrikes Budka. All of the strikes are pretty much in the clinch, really. but it's simply his round. You go to the judges' scorecards, and Mike Bell, he scores it for Budka. Derek Clearly, he scores it for Budka. And Rick Winter scores it for Budka. Absolutely, all three. Honorable mention, all three. It's absolutely, excuse me, it's absolutely ridiculous. All three scorecards are wrong. I can stand and say that. All three scorecards are absolutely wrong. It's insane not even one was like, hey, Budka did nothing, but whatever. We'll move on with that. He gets finished in the second round, so whatever. You go to the third, you go to the next honorable mention. Okay, you go to the next honorable mention, and that's Falcao versus Hugo. That's 30-27 for Hugo. This was a really fun fight to watch. In the first round, Falcao had a takedown, but Hugo outstruck Falcao. Second round, Hugo outstruck Falcao again. In the third round, Hugo dropped and outstruck Falcao. This is a systematic 30-27. Anything else is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You go to the scorecards. Chris Liebman is the only one. Chris Liebman is the only one to score 30-27. He knows what he's doing. Okay. Brian Minner decides, no, he doesn't know what he's doing. So, gives the last two rounds to Hugo, gives the first round to Falcao. Nonsense. Honorable mention of Brian Minner. That's stupid. It's a shitty scorecard. And then Adelaide Bird, another shitty scorecard, gives the first round and the third round to Hugo, gives the middle round, the second round to Falcao. I'm just lost. What are these guys doing? It makes no fucking sense at all. No sense at all. Honorable mention Adelaide Bird. Fucking stupid. We go to the next honorable mention, and that's Dumont versus De Randamie. This fight was terrible for one person and one person only, and that's Norma Dumont. Okay? This fight was terrible for Norma Dumont because Norma Dumont could have won this fight easily cleanly, or more cleaner than what was originally put down. I'll explain in a second. We start off with the fact that I had 29-28 for Norma Dumont. I put the first round, I put close. I put a close mark on the first round. I think there's a world where you can argue that De Randamie won this fight. You can 29-28 either way. You can argue that De Randamie won this fight. First round, Dumont. Last round, Dumont. Middle round goes to De Randamie. In the first round, Dumont has two takedowns with, when I say ground and pound, I don't even think it's fair to say ground and pound, with very, very, emphasis on 40 varies, little ground and pound. She's almost inactive on the on top. She's almost inactive in terms of ground and pound here, Norma Dumont. And De Randamie is 10 times more active than Dumont. That in some world you can argue that this round goes to De Randamie. I scored it for Dumont given the two takedowns, but in a world I can see a judge giving the first round to De Randamie, and I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Okay. You go to the second round. Dumont has a takedown. Again, same problems. Let me just say this real quick. All three rounds, she has the exact same problem, where when she gets the takedown, she doesn't do anything. Little to nothing. Dumont gets a takedown. 40 emphasis on very little ground and pound. But Dumont, again, is outstriking her. She's more active on the bottom. But not only the reason why this is her round is she's so inactive on the bottom. I'm sorry. She's so active on the bottom, coupled with the fact that she's also outstriking Dumont on the feet and in the clinch. So that gives her the extra element of the fact that she's really active on the bottom. And when they're on the feet, De Randamie is outstriking Dumont. So there's that. And then you go to the third round, which is kind of close, but not really given this variable. But De Randamie was active on the bottom. But what gives Dumont this round, in my opinion, is she gets 3 takedowns instead of 2, obviously. She gets 3 takedowns. Again, she does nothing. She basically does nothing on the bottom. Very little ground and pound. Again, De Randamie's active, but it's not enough given the fact that she's taken down 3 times. You can't score that for De Randamie, and that's where you have 29-28 Dumont. You go to the judges' scorecards. And all three have it the same. Mike Bell, Derek Cleary, and Chris Flores. All their scorecards reflect mine. They gave the first round to Dumont and the last round to Dumont. Okay, you go to the next honorable mention. I hate that. We were almost in another fight where Brzeski was robbed. If I remember, it was Brzeski versus Budai. I think that's the fight. I don't know. I'd have to go off. I'm just remembering off the top of my head where Brzeski was robbed. Okay, I forgot what card it was, but he was robbed by Budai. Walker versus Brzeski. I had this 30-27 of Brzeski. Last round, I put a close marker on. You can argue the third round for Walker if you want to, but I had it 30-27. In the first round, Walker had 2 takedowns. Brzeski outstruck Walker on the feet, and he was active on the bottom. Walker was worse than Norma Dumont. Worse than Norma Dumont. Not active. Not active in any sense of the imagination. I'll make a video about UFC 300 in a second, but because we're going to continue talking about inactivity. But in this scenario, he was just not active at all. He got 2 takedowns, and he decided, fuck it, let me just not hit my opponent. Let me just hold my opponent. I don't know what they're teaching these guys. Hey, you know how to take someone down. Can you hit them in the face? No, I don't know how to do that for some reason. So guess what? I'll just hold them down there. Well, guess what? It doesn't win him the round because Brzeski outstruck him on the feet, and he was active on the bottom. Very active on the bottom. Like, annoyingly active on the bottom, to where even if he didn't outstrike him on the feet, you can still make a case there. Go to the second round. Walker had a takedown, but once again, ineffective. Brzeski gets back up, outstrikes Walker on the feet. This time he outstrikes him on the feet by about 15 plus strikes. This is his round for sure. Third round, Walker gets a takedown. This time with some decent ground and pound, and he gets a reversal, but Brzeski had his own reversal. Haney outstruck Brzeski with ground and pound. He was a lot more active on the bottom than Brzeski. Brzeski was a lot more active than Walker was on top of him. This is why I gave Brzeski this round. Again, you can argue this last round for Walker, but I didn't. You go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 of them gave the last round to Walker, so whatever. Do what you want. But then they all gave the first 2 rounds to Brzeski. Eric Colon, Junichiro Kamijo, and Rick Winter, all their scorecards reflect the same. 29-28 to Brzeski. Go to the next honorable mention, and guys, this is a straight-up robbery. It's a straight-up robbery, and for some reason, no one cares, because I haven't even looked online, so I can't even say anyone cares. It's McGee versus Morono. This is 30-27 McGee. Close marker on the first round. At the very least, this is a 29-28 for McGee. The strike number, guys, I'm tired of this. Watching a fight where I'm watching and I'm going, okay, they are overcounting certain strikes. The commentary is focusing on one fight. And I don't want to come off as though I'm accusing the commentary of bias, but they continue to glaze Saif Saud, who's the coach of Morono. Not a bad coach. He's a great coach. The issue I'm having with it is this is affecting what they're talking about in commentary, and it makes it look as though Morono's winning, when in fact, not only was he not winning, he was losing a large portion of this fight. He was missing on a lot of his shots. Most of his shots were targeted to the head, and he was getting outstruck. McGee was distributing his attacks, body, head, legs, and I'm not sure on the legs. I can just remember that he landed a lot of body shots, and for some reason, this ended up being a unanimous decision. Morono, he couldn't even get a benefit of the split. It's certain fights like this where I go, what the fuck were they watching? Are they not counting body strikes? Let's start off with this. So, 30-27 McGee. Okay, in the very first round, it's very close on strikes, with the edge to McGee. Okay, McGee is outstriking Morono, but it's close. It's close on strikes. So I put a close marker there just to be objective. You can argue it either way. Cool. Let's go to the second round. Morono has a submission attempt, but McGee outstrikes him on the feet and has a takedown with ground and pound for 2+ minutes. If this round isn't scored for McGee, kill yourself. If this round is not scored for McGee, End it all. We don't need to do this anymore. It's over. We don't know what we're looking at. We go to the third round where McGee outstrucks Morono, has a takedown to close the end of the round. He's outstriking Morono, and he takes him down at the end of the round. I don't know if the judges thought that Morono was outstriking him the entire time, and then they were just like, the takedown at the end is desperate. I don't know if that's what their mindset was, but the takedown at the end wasn't even desperate. He's outstriking him, and he gets the takedown. But, okay, it seems as though they don't really care. We're going to go to the judges' scorecards, and I'm going to see how this looks. Okay, real quick, all three have it the same. They give the first round, Mike Bell, Adelaide Bird, Derek Cleary, all honorable mention, all terrible scorecards. All three of them give the first round to Morono. Okay, so I won't complain. They think that he outstruck him. I don't think so. Second round. And, by the way, the UFC strike numbers are, when they come up on the screen, they are inflated, sometimes deflated, but a lot of times they're inflated. Second round they give to McGee. So, okay, we're all in agreement there. Third round, they all give it to Morono. So, not only do they not acknowledge the takedown, they don't even acknowledge that Morono's being outstruck in this third round. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And I don't know what to think. If we're going to do this nonsense where we go, the bigger shots are coming from Morono, that's absolute nonsense because they were both landing pretty heavy shots. Pretty heavy shots from both of them. And Morono was getting outstruck by McGee. This shouldn't at all have been a unanimous decision. It should have been at the very least a split decision, with the winner being McGee. But whatever. McGee gets robbed. So whatever. We go to the next honorable mention. That's Charriere versus Mariscal. I had this 29-28 for Mariscal. This ended in a split decision. I didn't think there should have been a split decision, but whatever. 29-28 to Mariscal. Where are my notes at? In the first round, if I can find my notes correctly. Yeah, there we go. In the first round, Mariscal outstruck Charriere. That's pretty clear. In the second round, it was close on the feet, but Charriere had 2 takedowns. That round goes to Charriere. And then the third round, Charriere had a takedown with very little ground and pound. He had a takedown, but very little ground and pound. But Mariscal had a reversal with a lot of ground and pound, and he outstruck Mariscal on the feet. This shouldn't have been a split decision. This was pretty clear. It's pretty simple. I mean, nothing confusing about this in any way. You go to the judges' scorecards. Mike Bell, his scorecard reflects mine. Eric Colon, his scorecard reflects mine. And then Adelaide Bird decides, you know what, Charriere she just loves the way Charriere looks, apparently. She loves the way he looks. Gives him the first round. No. Gives him the second round. Yes, that's correct. Gives him the third round. It's a misprint. It's a misprint. Honorable mention Adelaide Bird. That's a terrible scorecard. Very terrible scorecard. Go to the next honorable mention. And this one's Hernandez versus Jackson. This one also ended in a split decision. A little confusing on that one, too. I had this 29-28 for Jackson. This one was pretty simple to score. Again, first round, Jackson had a takedown, and he outstruck Hernandez. He outstruck him towards the end of the round, and he also had a takedown at the end of the round. If that's coming up in my mind correctly, yes. And then the second round is close on strikes again, pretty even on strikes. Jackson gets a takedown. That's his round for sure. Third round, Jackson gets a takedown with some ground and pound, but Hernandez drops him, and he outstrikes Jackson in the clinch. That pretty much equals the strikes and has Hernandez a little over on strikes, and he also drops him. So that round also belongs to Hernandez as well. That last round belongs to Hernandez. That's where you get the 29-28 for Jackson. Go to the judges' scorecards. Derek Cleary, his scorecard reflects mine. Junior Chirocamijo's scorecard reflects mine. Brian Minner decides to just flub it and give all 3 rounds to Hernandez. What the fuck are we watching? I don't know what. Again, maybe he's probably thinking he was outstriking him and the takedown was irrelevant. No, gives a second round to He's probably thinking the same thing on the second round. No, just nonsense. Honorable mention to Brian Minner. Just terrible scorecard. And then we go to probably the most controversial one of the night, which is Allen versus Curtis. This one ended in a split decision. It shouldn't have been a split decision. Why is this a fucking split decision? And then I'm seeing 2-2 on the stupid little Twitter online scorecards. I'm seeing 2-2. Where the fuck do you guys have it 2-2? What are you lot watching? You guys aren't watching. So let's start with this. I have this 48-47 Allen. Okay, I had this 48-47 Allen. First round for Allen. Second round for Curtis. 3 and 4 go to Allen. Last round is Curtis. It's simple. But again, don't listen to commentary. They'll just tell you, oh, I have it 2-2, because they're looking at the scorecards online. They're not thinking with their head. They're not thinking. They're going, oh, I think I have it 2-2 just like the people online. But then in the same breath go, but we don't know because we're not watching the whole thing. We're just talking. So you don't know what you're not really watching. You're just copying another person's score. Online scorecards that were terrible, by the way. And we'll move on. Let's go to this. First round, Allen had to take down and he was outstriking Curtis on the feet. Simple. Second round, close on strikes with the edge to Curtis. It's pretty close on strikes. Curtis edges it out. Okay? Third round, Allen has a takedown, and he also has Curtis's back, but he outstrikes Curtis on the feet, and he has a takedown. Cool. Fourth round, Allen has 2 takedowns, and he outstrikes Curtis. There's portions of 3 and 2 where Curtis is outstriking Allen. Allen gets back. Allen cuts him getting outstrike loose by initiating the takedown, getting the takedown, landing enough ground and pound to equal up on strikes, and win the round. Him getting those takedowns saved him this fight. He wins 3 and 4 that way. Fifth round happens where Allen gets a takedown, but he gets outstruck by Curtis. Now, there's a weird optic thing at the end of 5 where even if Curtis doesn't get injured, Curtis still wins this round just based off of all the action that happened, right? He's getting outstruck by Curtis. Allen gets a takedown, does nothing with it pretty much. But Curtis gets up, and via the replay, even in the moment, he just gets up. He looked like he didn't get hit, and he's grabbing his leg. Allen keens in on it and lands some punches. It wasn't enough to win him the round. That round definitely still goes to Curtis. You go to the judges' scorecards, and it just looks fucking wonky. We'll start off with Mike Bell. Right? The first round he gives to Allen. This I'm looking at this, and this is fucking insane. He gives the first round to Allen. He gives the second round to Curtis. Perfect so far. Gives the third round to Curtis. I'm going to look at the Curtis thing, the third round. Curtis gets outstruck in this third. But guys, by the way, another stupid thing. The strike numbers are super inflated in this fight. I was watching it going, those are not the accurate strike numbers. No one's getting doubled up right now. No one was getting double upped in terms of the strike numbers at all. Okay, whatever. Third round, Allen gets a takedown and he outstrikes Curtis. Same in 3 and 4, Allen wins. Guess what? Mike Bell says, fuck it. 3 and 4 go to Curtis. And then guess what? Because he doesn't want his scorecard to look stupid. This is the only way. Because he doesn't want his scorecard to look stupid, he gives Allen round 5. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Curtis was hurt at the end and then he limps back. No. Even if you take out that scenario, Curtis wins this round. Put in that scenario, even if you look back at it, Curtis gets up hobbling, hits the fence. The amount of strikes that Allen lands on him doesn't change the count. It changes the count in no possible way. When Curtis goes to the fence and Allen realizes that he's hurt and lands a bunch of and throws a barrage of punches, only very few of those strikes land clean. Ridiculous. And all 3 of them scored that round for Allen. So let's say they score it correctly. Curtis wins this fight just off of bad judging, period. But thankfully the right fighter won. So I'm not really too mad about it, but I'm mad in the sense that they all scored the last round wrong. So real quick, honorable mention all 3. All 3 terrible scorecards. But back onto the thing. We go to Derek Cleary. He gives the first round to Allen, second round to Curtis. Third round to Curtis. Not, yo, what the fuck am I watching? Third round to Curtis, fourth round to Allen. Okay, so he has it tied, gives the last round to Allen. He's scoring it wrong, but the right fighter won. Next one, Eric Colon. Eric Colon is the only one who has close to a fair scorecard. First round to Allen, second round to Curtis, third and fourth round to Allen. That is absolutely correct. That's the only correct score line. And then he gives the fifth round to Allen. He fucks up the scorecard. And there you have it. It's just a wonky night. People are saying robbery because, and you know, this is what's funny, right? They'll say robbery because they will acknowledge, and I guess I'm doing that too, right? In some sense, but just bear with me. They'll say it's a robbery because they agree with round, let's say 3, because Allen had 2 takedowns in round 4. Let's say 3. Let's be charitable. I haven't heard another argument. They think that round 3 goes to Curtis. Let's say that's the case. So they're agreeing with that scorecard on 2 judges' scorecards that 3 goes to Curtis. No, it doesn't. And so they're looking at round 5, and they're probably going robbery because they think Curtis won this round, which he did, but it's scored in the opposite direction. This whole scorecard is scored incorrectly, and it gives the illusion that Allen was just given one. No, nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That's all I have for this one. Thank you all for listening, and God bless.